Welcome back to my channel Daily Learner. Now we shall discuss about sovereignty. It is various types or kinds of sovereignty. There are 5 kinds of sovereignty. They are nominal or real sovereignty, second legal sovereignty, third political sovereignty, fourth popular sovereignty, fifth de facto and de jure sovereignty. First of all, we shall discuss about titular and real sovereignty. The titular or nominal sovereignty is just only ruler by name, but in reality is not capable of exercising any effective power. For example, the king or queen of Britain, the king of Japan, the president of India, all of them are examples of titular or nominal sovereignty. From the point of view of the law, they are described as the highest source of state power and a symbol of unity and tradition of the country, possessing the highest honor. They are the titular sovereignty and nominal sovereignty. In ancient time, many states had monarchies. The rulers were monarchs. They wield absolute power. Their senate and parliament were quite powerless, and at that time they exercised the real sovereign power. Therefore, they are regarded the real sovereignty. Next is the legal sovereignty. Legal sovereignty is that authority of the state which has the legal power to issue the final commands. It is the authority of the state whose direction the law of the state attributes final legal force. In every independent or ordered state, there are some laws which must be obeyed by the people, and there must be a power to issue and enforce the law. The power which has the legal authority to issue and enforce the law is legal sovereignty. In England, the king in parliament is sovereign. The authority of the legal sovereignty is absolute. The law is simply the will of the sovereign. Since the authority of the sovereign is unrestrained, reserves the legal rights to do whatever he desires. The legal sovereign is thus always defined and determinate. The authority of the sovereign is absolute and supreme. The authority may reside either in the monarch or in absolute monarchy, or it may reside in the body of persons. Next is the political sovereignty. According to Professor Gilchrist, the political sovereign means the sum total of influence in the state which is lie behind the law. In modern representative government, we might define it roughly as the power of the people. In other words, by political sovereign in the representative democracy, we mean the whole mass of people or the electorate of the public opinion. Political sovereignty rests in that class of people under whose influence the mass of the people is or the people are. Political sovereignty rests in the electorate, in the public opinion, and in the all influences in the state which mold and shape the public opinion. So now discuss some of the points of difference between legal sovereign and political sovereign, or difference between legal sovereign and political sovereign. Legal sovereign is a law-making authority in legal terms, whereas political sovereignty is behind the legal sovereignty. The legal sovereign can express his will in legal terms, but political sovereign cannot do so. Legal sovereign is determinate, definite, divisible, while political sovereign is not determinate or clear. Legal sovereignty is vested in the electorate, public opinion, and other influences of the lawyers, while political sovereign is not. Legal sovereign cannot go against the will of the people, whereas political sovereign, though not legally powerful, control over the legal sovereign. The concept of legal sovereign is clear, where the concept of political sovereign is vague. The legal sovereign is elected by the political sovereign, where political sovereign is the electorate or the people. Next is the popular sovereignty. Popular sovereignty means that sovereignty lies in the hands of the people. The basis of the governing power of the government is public support. The call for the first populist sovereignty was reflected through protests against monarchy in the 17th and 16th century. In the glorious revolution of 1688 of England, the partial establishment of sovereignty of the people was noticed. In John Locke's Two Treatises of Civil Government, it is his book, John Locke's book, Two Treatises on Civil Government, it is clearly declared that the king's rule depends on the consent of people. The demand for the sovereignty of the people was eloquent in French Revolution. Rousseau's thought also matches the obvious identity of the popular sovereignty. General will is the sovereign, according to Rousseau, or Rousseau said this for the first time. Sovereignist policy became popular even the American independence, 1776, the October Revolution of 1917 in Russia, the People's Revolution in China, 1940. This is the establishment of sovereignty or popular sovereignty. Now we shall discuss about de jure sovereignty and de facto sovereignty. De facto and de jure sovereignty. Sometimes a distinction is made between de facto actual sovereignty, de jure legal sovereignty. A de jure sovereign is the legal sovereign, whereas a de facto sovereign is a sovereign which is actually obeyed. In the words of Lord Bryce, de facto sovereign is the person or a body of persons who can make his and their will prevail, whether with the law or against the law. He or they is the de facto ruler, the person to whom obedience is actually paid. Though it is quite clear that de jure is the legal sovereignty founded on law, where de facto is the actual sovereignty. The person or the body of the person who actually exercise power is called de facto sovereign. The de facto sovereign may not be legal sovereign, or he may be a offspring of usurping sovereignty, a dictator, a priest, or a prophet. In either case, sovereignty rests upon the physical power or spiritual influence rather than legal rights. So these are the some of the types of sovereignty or kind sovereignty. In next video lesson, we shall discuss about decline of sovereignty for the English medium student. Thank you very much. Thank you.